Morning, Sam Salinas. Thanks for joining us, man. We're just waiting on Mike to get here. Sad day for Cowboy fan, man. Got fans in the stands wearing paper bags over their heads today. We'll talk about that. What's up, Midtown Texas? Good morning. Charlie Hernandez says, what's up? What's up, Charlie? Bear County Social Apparel. Good morning, Mike. Appreciate you, man. Morning, Mr. Lerma. Late. The Tecuache is back at it again. Albert Lopez, morning, man. True enough, Sam Salinas, we had all said that Jerry Jones not doing anything was going to have some ramifications before the season started. And Cowboy fans are seeing that so bad, even Cowboy Stadium's falling apart, man. Got sheet metal coming off from the roof. It's not good for Cowboy fan, man. I like that, Midtown Texas. We must fight against the forces of mediocrity.
Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from the west side of San Antonio.
Puro west side.
My name's Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We have fun over here at the Alamo City Sportscast. We talk sports, pop culture, nostalgia, but today we're talking a lot about the Dallas Cowboys. Is this the worst season in 20 years? Joe, you and I have some crow to eat. We both had the prediction that the Cowboys would win last night's game. You know what? The Texans kind of didn't want to come play in the first half. Yeah. They kept it close. And the Cowboys decided to simply wet the bed. So much happened in yesterday's game. The team gave up.
This is the state of Cowboy Nation right now, man.
So many empty stands out there, people with paper bags over their heads. For some reason, Jerry Jones having a press conference after the game. Not even a press conference, just like a scrum where all the reporters go around him. Why? What is he talking about?
Nothing. This is all his fault. And the fans in the stands with the paper bags over the head reminds me of the Saints fans from years ago. Remember?
Yeah.
The Aints, and they had the paper bags over their heads when they were so upset that the team was not good. Cowboy fans are showing Jerry that they're unhappy because what happened? There were a lot of empty seats at Cowboy Stadium.
Jerry likes all eyes on them, and he personally believes that all news is good news, right? Bad news is good news. Good news is good news. Just keep watching us. Just keep buying our merch. Joe, I have heard from so many Cowboy fans right now who are diehards.
Oh, yeah.
Who have all but said they're done with the season right now, and they're done until Jerry leaves.
How many games we got left? 7 more games. Mediocrity, man.
And you know what? They open up as a 10-point underdog to the Washington Commanders. When were the last time the Cowboys were a 10-point underdog heading into a game? It's been 24 years since they've been a 10-point underdog to the Washington Commanders, formerly known as the Redskins.
And look at this. Somebody had put this. Next year, for sure, is our year. And our boy Swiss went ahead and got our guy, Elias, man. Went ahead and put him in Cowboy. Well, he put him in Dak's jersey
right
there in his get-up with his face on it. It was a good job there.
Cowboys lost 34-10, 3-7 on the season, now 0-5 at home. All 3 wins this year. They're 3-2 on the road. They have a winning record on the road. 0-5 at home. You add on the fact that they lost to Green Bay in the playoffs last January.
Jeez.
They haven't won a game in 7 games over there in Arlington. The Cowboys not only have lost 5 home games, I believe the stat is, Joe, that they've been down by 20 points or more in every single one of those games.
Yeah.
They haven't been close. Cowboys, now with the number 9 overall pick in the NFL draft, on pace for that, Joe. Yeah. And I'm listening to Cowboy fans. Here are the home games, right? 44-19 to the Saints. 28-25 to the Ravens, almost beat the Ravens. 47-9 to the Lions. 34-6 to Philadelphia. 34-10 to Houston. Imagine being a season ticket holder and paying hundreds of dollars for the parking for the year, thousands of dollars for the tickets and the rights to the seat, right? And this is what you get.
Mediocrity.
It's not even mediocrity. It is toilet water.
Well, that's Jerry Jones' fault because he says, at the beginning of the season, before the season even started, we're all in. But unfortunately for Cowboy fans, Jerry is just a really bad GM. He might be a great owner, but he needs to remove himself as a GM because he's the one that's done this.
Ageism.
He's done
Joe.
He's done this.
Joe, he has won 3 Super Bowls, right? He has won 3 Super Bowls. We cannot use age as a reason to get rid of him.
No.
He has won 3 Super Bowls. I believe, Joe, that he deserves the right to leave whenever he wants.
Jerry
no
Jones,
matter how long
God.
he's been. Wait a minute. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah, no, I'm saying Jerry is a bad GM. He is. He's a bad GM. And the thing is that he's a good owner, but he's just a bad GM.
But he's won 3 as a GM. He's won 3 as the
owner. He hasn't won 5. I'm just saying he's a bad GM, and everybody can see it too. Because the thing is, he doesn't make good decisions, right?
Yeah.
And he's had the opportunity to shore up some of the gaping holes in the Cowboys' defense, offense. He's done nothing.
But Jerry Jones is a Hall of Famer, Joe.
He's
a Hall of Famer.
Jerry Jones a Hall of Famer?
Who won? He's in the Hall of Fame.
God.
Jerry Jones is the Hall of Fame. He has 3 championships. He deserves the right. I don't care if he's 83 years old. I don't care if he's 83 years old.
You're going to come at me like this? I'm going to come back at you like this.
Who are we going to have as the GM?
So this is what I'm going to tell you.
Who are we going to have as the GM?
You're talking about Coach Pop and Jerry Jones. Has nothing to do with it. Is Jerry Jones the owner of the he's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, but he is not the coach. Totally different scenarios here.
He hires the coach,
but he's not the coach.
He brings in the coach.
He's not the coach. You act like Jerry's the one out there on the field coaching the team, and he's not. That's Coach Pop, man. And you always have to turn it around and go, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put my finger there in the wound to Coach Pop. I'm like, has nothing to do with it. We're talking about Cowboys.
Now, Tony Ornelas on our YouTube stream, thank you for the 1,230 subscribers strong now at Alamo City Sportscast. Tony Ornelas on our YouTube stream, you can be part of the show by leaving a comment or 5
Look
or
at
10.
that, Leha. I know this fool ain't trying to shit on Pop, bro, the owner. How are we going to fire himself?
Dude, at this point, Pop owns the Spurs. Just call it what it is.
No.
But
Pop don't own the Spurs. But that kind of capital.
But people are saying that Tony Ornelas being one of them on our YouTube stream saying that it was symbolism last night that before the game started, the stadium started to crumble on its own. Pieces of sheet metal started falling from the sky.
100 Joe throws a cup at my God. Where's the phone? I'm gonna call Greg Simmons. Give me that phone.
So the stadium starts coming apart, starts crumbling on Monday Night Football.
They hadn't opened the roof.
Yeah,
in over 2 years. I'm like, why wouldn't you at least go look at it?
This is how expensive, like a $1 billion stadium, right?
Multi-billion.
I think a $10 billion stadium, something like that. And you have curtains that aren't being used for the football game.
Not for the game.
You've got pieces of sheet metal just falling from the sky. Imagine, Joe, if it was during the game and it landed onto the stands
or a player or something. Oh man,
Mike! It hit one of the producers
almost
of ESPN. It like bounced.
He moved out of the way. He moved out of the way. He maybe got a little glance.
Dude, you know what? I would have been like, just graze me and I'll sue.
But the thing is like it hasn't been open in over 2 years. They have people that maintain the facility.
Right.
You would think you would go up there and check it out,
test it out,
see what's happening. They have high winds.
Dude, every day whenever I go to SeaWorld or go to Fiesta, Texas, first thing they do in the morning is what? They check to see if the roller coasters are working.
They don't want nobody flying off
over here. They're like, well, I know we haven't opened this up in 2 years, but let's not spot check this.
Just open it up, and they're like pieces falling off of the thing. I'm like,
Cowboys have a lot of needs right now, and This is the first time, Joe, in a long time that I've heard Cowboy fans just give up on the season. And not only give up on the season, they gave up on the season before. I've seen this before, Joe, when the Cowboys go 8-8. Remember, August 8th was considered to be Dallas Cowboy Day because they were going 8-8 all the time. But this is the first time I've heard this in 20 some odd years, Joe, where Cowboy fans are like, we're not watching anymore. We're not buying the merch for Christmas this year.
They're gonna watch.
They're not, Joe. The ratings are going to tank.
Well, I hope they don't watch.
They're still going to be high because Cowboy fans, a lot of them are addicted to the team, kind of like the Spurs, right?
Yeah.
Look at the Spurs. We talked about boxing yesterday with the diehard boxers, right? When the Spurs go 20, 30, 40 games under 500, guess what? We have the diehards. We have the Mike Jimenez's, the Joe Garcias, the Matt Laramas, the Sam Salinas', the Chris Gonzalez's, who will all watch the game, even though we have no chance of making the playoffs, even though we have no chance of this and the other. There are the diehards who will continue to watch wherever they go. They can go 1-16, doesn't matter. You're going to have the diehards. But the casual fan, Joe, the fan that only cheers when they're winning or have a chance, they go away. And we saw that at the game yesterday. Think about this, Joe. If the Houston Texans hadn't brought their fans over, if the Houston Texans fans hadn't gone up I-30 and gone over there to Houston, to Dallas, to Jerry World. If they hadn't have done that, it's not 30, it's 45. If they hadn't have done that, that would have been an empty stadium.
Well, the majority of the people that were there were Houston Texans fans, and it got so bad, this ass whooping that happened on Monday Night Football, the Cowboy fans that were there winded up leaving, right? They just said, we're done, we're out of here. And the Texans fans, you just saw all the red and blue there watching this debacle. And the thing is with Cowboy Nation is that they're just frustrated. They're upset. And if they want to get at Jerry, the best way to do that is in his pocketbook. Because Jerry could care less about what fans have to say and what happens, on the outside. Jerry thinks he's untouchable, doesn't want to answer the hard questions, even though he is the GM. And he is the owner. Don't dare ask him a tough question because he's going to fire your ass. That's what he says, right?
Well, he's just an old man now.
He's an old man, yeah. But the thing is, if you really want to get at him, you got to get him where it hurts, and that's the pocketbook.
You have to embarrass him.
Exactly.
Because there's one thing that a narcissist doesn't like, and I don't care who you are of a billion. If you're a billionaire, whether you're Jerry Jones, Mark Cuban, Donald Trump, the Walton family, Elon Musk, all of them, they all have something in common. It's not a left thing or a right thing. They're all narcissists in one way or another. That's how they became billionaires. It's narcissism at its finest. Jerry Jones, one thing about narcissists, Joe, they don't like being embarrassed. Like, they don't like being the butt of the joke.
No, they sure are now.
And now they're the butt of the joke because it's one thing for the Cowboys to go 12-5, make the playoffs, and then crap the bed against the Packers.
Yeah.
Right?
Wild card.
Yeah. But they made the playoffs. They made a run. They got their fans believing. They packed the house, all that stuff. They made the playoffs. It's another thing where the team is 0-5 at home. The only team in the major in any major league sport in the United States that does not have a home victory this year. To be embarrassed like that at home repeatedly, to lose by 20 plus at home. And to know that Jerry Jones, the narcissist that he is, cannot turn around and blame anybody. The walls are closing in. And for a narcissist, what you don't want is to be embarrassed. Like when he lashed out at 105.3 The Fan a few weeks ago, how dare you ask me that question? I can get rid of you guys, replace you. That is just... That is not strength. That is weakness.
Yeah, he's deflecting.
Yeah. And he wants to change the topic. He shines the spotlight on Mike McCarthy. He shines the spotlight on Dak. Yeah. He does everything but point the mirror at himself to show maybe it's his fault. Maybe it's Stephen Jones's fault. Maybe it's somebody with the name Jones that sucks at this. And he hates the fact, Joe, that we all know when we look back at the Cowboys' glory years of the 90s, the early to mid 90s, that was not him. The Herschel Walker trade and all that stuff, he might have been the owner, but that was Jimmy Johnson who did all that. And Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with Jimmy's team. Jimmy Johnson was the reason why those Cowboys won Super Bowls in the 90s. It wasn't Jerry. And when Jerry started finally taking control of this team, guess what? They haven't done crap since. It's been 3 decades, Joe. Been 3 decades. Cowboys now 3-7 with the 9th worst record in the NFL right now. If the season was to end today, would have the number 9 pick in the draft. They're 1 game away from being a top 3 pick, Joe.
Oh,
so Cowboy fans need to tank at this point.
Lose every game.
Encourage the tank. But I asked the question on Twitter to fill in the blank.
Yeah.
This is the worst season for the Dallas Cowboys since when? People kept saying Quincy Carter. I looked up Quincy Carter's stats, Joe. You know, he was a winning quarterback.
He couldn't throw. He wasn't very accurate with the ball. He didn't have a really good arm, but hey,
he had a winning record as a quarterback.
Yeah.
He was 28-26.
I'm just saying.
So is that really the worst? Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't that good, but he was winning games.
Exactly.
He was winning games. So I'm looking at this right now, Joe. The Cowboys right now are 4-7. RJ Ochoa of Blogging the Boys said that he looked at the Cowboys schedule for the rest of the year and he says max the Cowboys win 2.
I hope they don't win another damn game the rest of the year.
So they could be 4-13 if they do what RJ Ochoa says, which is the max. And he's a diehard Cowboy fan who studies every angle. That's a 6-11 record. Let's go back in time, Joe. Cowboys are 3-7. They can go 3-14, right? So they could go 5-12 is probably the best that they'll do this year. Well, in 2020, the Cowboys were 6-10, right? They had their 3 12-win seasons in a row. They were 6-10, but no one felt that was a bad time for the Cowboys because the Cowboys had injuries that year. Go back in time, 2015, 4-12, last place in the division. That was a bad team, Joe.
Look at this, Chris Gonzalez's comment. Mike Taylor also said the Cowboys are your girlfriend that will hurt you, but you still go back.
Yeah. Mike Taylor's a very smart man. That's a very good point. But before that, the 2015 season, Joe, you look back and the Cowboys had won 12. They had 3 years in a row of 8-8, 6-10, 11-5, 9-7. Really, Joe, is this really the worst team since the 1989 1-15 squad?
I think this is one of the worst teams out there as far as the Cowboys are concerned. You look and see what this team has done, and they really haven't done much. This Cowboy team right now under Mike McCarthy, they're playing soft, man. They get bullied out there. They don't know what to do. They're not crisp on their route running, and this has been a debacle from them since the beginning, going back to preseason. Everybody's been pointing it out. Even in the regular season, right now you see the analysts and they're talking about him and they're like, why can't he run this route? The route running is not what it needs to be. And what happens is that because they're not running their routes the way they're supposed to, it puts the pressure on the quarterback. And the announcers have even said this. It's like the quarterback has to throw a perfect pass
every time,
every single time.
The problem with that, Joe, is that it's not the coaching necessarily. It's the talent level of what's there with the Cowboys.
They ain't got the money to go after people, man.
Well, I mean, they're not going after the right people.
No.
And it's almost like they treat the salary cap differently than everybody else. Everybody knows what the problem is with this team. And it's not Mike McCarthy who's going to be used as a scapegoat the second the season ends. They're going to be like, oh, well, we didn't fire him. His contract just ran out, right? Like the movie Office Space. We just fixed the glitch, right? That's what they're going to do to him. They're not going to fire him. They're going to fix the glitch. They're going to say his contract right now. We decided to go a different direction.
Incoming super chat right now from Drew's show. I'm going to go ahead and show that on screen.
$5.47 says the 90s was a glorious blip. The true glory years of the Cowboys was the Landry and the Tex Schramm era. Multi-decades. Boys were already America's team. Talk about the Cowboys of the Roger Staubach era, the Dan Meredith era, Tony Dorsett, Bob Lilly. Those guys back in the day. Thank you for the super chat, Drew. We appreciate your constant support of this show. We really do appreciate it. The Cowboys had that Herschel Walker trade, which was orchestrated by Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson then manipulated the trade because he didn't keep the players that were given to him or traded to him. He decided to trade them back in for more picks. Right, because there was compensatory picks associated with it all.
Yeah.
So he did that, And that's how the Cowboys got all the picks, and then they did a good job of drafting. And Jimmy Johnson was kind of at the helm of that as well. I want that guy, I want this guy, I want that guy. The Cowboys need a whole new culture change.
They need to just hit that reset button, dude.
Everything.
Reset.
Everything needs to go.
Everything.
You know how we say this about the Spurs? Like I say, keep Castle, keep Wemby, and really just flush out the rest.
Yeah.
The Cowboys really should just keep CeeDee Lamb and then just be done with everything else, right?
Yeah.
But they haven't even started that contract yet with the Dak Prescott. His contract hasn't even started yet. $60 million a year. Highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Highest paid player in the NFL. You were damned if you do, damned if you didn't type of thing. He's going to go over there and he's going to be the quarterback of the future for the Dallas Cowboys. You already know that to be the case. The problem, Joe, is that it didn't. You know how you have those guys that are on social media who rag on me, rag on any sports personality that does hot takes.
The trolls.
They come out and say, you don't know ball. Right?
I love it.
Okay. They're the X's and O's types of players of knowing ball, right? Like, if you were to ask me about like the Spurs or the Cowboys and you say cover 2 this or, down 4 this and all of that stuff, I don't know. I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
But what I do look at as a fan is chemistry. And I bring up certain points when it comes to the Cowboys, when it comes up to the Spurs, where I think that there's a chemistry issue. Not because I think a player sucks or is a scrub.
Yeah.
It's a chemistry thing. The Cowboys, though, when you look at this season, we all knew they were going to suck.
We said that even before the preseason
We
started.
didn't know how bad it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it's because you look at this team, you go, okay, they're 12-5. The window, I said this last year on San Antonio Sports, I said the window's closed. Like their window to win the Super Bowl was last year when you had only San Francisco to run through because everybody else had injuries. Aaron Rodgers had left to the Jets.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford was hurt. There was so much going on. The window of opportunity was then and there. And they wet the bed against the Green Bay Packers. So you look at it this year. Tony Pollard leaves, right? You need to replace you need a running back, right? They didn't replace him. They're like, okay, Rico Dowdle was the backup. Is Rico Dowdle better than Tony Pollard? No. Is Tony Pollard as good as he is elsewhere than he is compared when he was with the Cowboys? No, he's not as good of a player. He played better with the Cowboys in their system.
Yeah.
But you knew that going from Tony Pollard down to Rico Dowdle down to Zeke Elliott was a downgrade. Then you ask yourself the wide receivers. Wide receiver room, not as talented as it was last year.
Yeah.
Then you look at the offensive line and you see some players that have been playing for the Cowboys for many, many years who might be in the Ring of Honor one day, up and leave. And who they brought in, not as talented. You look at the defensive line, which was struggling to begin with. Lost players, not as talented. You see linebackers retire, some who left for other teams. The replacement's not as talented. Then you see players like Deron Bland get hurt. You look at it and you think to yourself, okay, and on top of that, you lost Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
So
And they don't even have any corners. You know, at all. There's nobody out there.
And then you saw that they whiffed on their pick last year.
Yeah.
Mozzie Smith. Jalen Tolbert the year before, 3rd rounder from South Alabama. So it doesn't take a casual fee. It doesn't take this expert. You don't have to be RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys and start talking about DVOA and all that stuff. You don't have to be the kind of guy who goes, oh, you don't know ball. You can look at that and go, okay, well, let's just do some math here.
One of the things that as a Cowboy fan, just being a fan, and you can see clearly what happens on the field is, what did the other teams do against the Cowboys? They're easily able to get a 20, 30-yard run, pass the ball right in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. They get whatever they need to. The opposing team can just throw the ball on the Cowboys all day long because there's nothing out there in that secondary that's going to stop it. Guys are wide open. I mean, by the time they get to them, they've already gotten a 20, 30-yard pass, Right. And the thing is, they can't stop the run. So it's like they're just getting beat on both ends constantly.
We asked the question, if the running game is worse, the receiver game is worse, the offensive line is worse, if you're losing Dan Quinn, if the defensive line's not as good as it was, if the linebacker core is not as good as it was, if the secondary is not as good as it was, and you have injuries to Deron Bland, Explain to me how this is going to be a good team.
You know what? I got a good analogy for you. Perfect.
Tell me.
You know Hyundai, right? The car brand. And they're like, hey, Hyundai's, everybody likes a Hyundai now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day when they first came into the US, right? Or in the 80s somewhere. Hyundais were like one of the worst cars you could buy.
Mm-hmm.
They would always break down. They didn't have any reliability at all. They had a lot of issues. And they were all, there's no problem. These are still a good, affordable car for the blue collar guy, right? Even though they knew they had tons of issues, and they were still selling them out there, even though they were just falling apart. So you'd leave the lot.
Selling lemons.
And that is exactly what Jerry Jones is. He's a used car salesman, and he's going to sell you that lemon and tell you it's a great product.
And the problem is Cowboy fans are so passionate and so diehard because it's part of the identity of a lot of these people, man. If you look at like your identity as a person, right? You might say husband, father, son. Then what's next? For a lot of people, it's Cowboy fan, Spurs fan. You identify as something, right?
Yeah.
I look at my profile on social media. What does it say? Husband, father, or I used to say husband. It's a father, son, sports fan, sports talk radio, Cowboys, Saints, right? Politics and investments. If you had to identify yourself in like 10 words, a lot of Cowboy fans identify themselves as Cowboy fans. Dude, look at the number of people, Joe, who a third of their wardrobe has the star logo on it. Not only just T-shirts, but the polos, but the swim trunks, but
hats.
the hats, the ice chest, the you go and you get a you want to keep your beer cold, so you get the koozie, right? And the koozie says Cowboys, and then you go to the garage, like Tex-Mex Frank, and then what's not Tex-Mex Frank,
Cuts by Jones.
Yeah, you go to this house, right? Cuts by Jones. You go to his house. His garage is dedicated to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Fred Jones. Shout out Fred Jones.
Does an amazing job with those cuts, man.
Yeah, man. He's good people too, man.
And you look at it, Joe, that's the identity. Cowboys yesterday, though, were down 20-10. Brandon Aubrey kicked a 64-yard field goal, which would have been good from 70.
Yeah.
Cuts lead at 20-13, but nope, penalty on the Texans. Gives the Cowboys a first down, which was funny because at the time I was thinking to myself, man, is this the first time in football history we're going to have a decline of penalty for a first down in order to keep the field goal? Cowboys get the ball inside the red zone, inside the 10-yard line, 4th and 2. Do they kick the ball to make it a one-possession game, Joe? 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. The conventional wisdom says what? You go for the field goal. You make it a one-possession game. If it was, because you know what you don't want to do is take points off the board, which was the 64-yard kick. And what happened? Cooper Rush was running for his life on the 4th down, had nowhere to throw the ball to, turnover on downs.
You know what?
Cowboys get the ball back. The funniest part, Joe, of it all, though, was the thick 6 by the Texans, the fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah,
that was hysterical, man.
Hysterical.
That was a like you had to have the Benny Hill musical theme song.
I can see that. The way the ball just kind of gradually fell out in perfect sync in to fall into the Texans' hands, and they just run it back. But to me, the debacle, the funniest thing out of this whole debacle of a game was going to be the fake punt, and you see Dak up there, and
why is Dak no longer on the sidelines?
They didn't capitalize. He's up there in the suite somewhere, right? And he's just looking, and they show them they didn't go ahead and execute the fake punt, and he's just like, oh, it's like it's just one of those things. And then on the other end, you could see the Texans coach saying, yeah, he's screaming. He probably saw this coming a mile away, when they lined up and everything. He's like, oh, it's a fake punt. He probably knew what was going on. So his players responded in kind. And I mean, there you go. You gave the Texans the ball back in really good field position. It's another debacle.
It's
dumb, man.
As someone mentioned earlier in our stream here, comedy of errors.
Yeah.
Like it like what could go wrong went wrong, Joe. The building started to crumble. I mean, just think about also, Joe, the culture around it, the building crumbling, the palace that thing is, building crumbling, the palace that is, and the refusal to put curtains up during the game.
Look at Hanover Fist said it perfectly. Yesterday was a comedy of errors. Yeah.
Comedy of errors. But Joe, think about also what you hear from players who talk about the fact that they're working out and people go up to glass windows,
Tap it,
and tapping it,
do something
like they're a zoo animal. Dalton Schultz, was he the one that went to Houston?
Yeah.
Tight end goes off and says, dude, we get to like actually focus on football when we're away from Dallas. You see the Cowboys not go after Derrick Henry, who's from Dallas, who wanted to play there. So many free agents, Joe, use Dallas Cowboys as leverage, have no desire to go there. But Derrick Henry would have gone there.
Look at Midtown Texas, man.
Spurs gear says I'm poor. Cowboys gear says I'm a dumbass. Joe, I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but I spent the weekend in Miami with my girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
We were hanging out with her daughter who goes to college over there. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but I mentioned this to the girlfriend the other day, how I oftentimes say that San Antonio is poor.
God.
And I went to Houston. I go to Houston a lot now, right?
Yeah.
I go to Austin, I go to Dallas for work and pleasure, right? You go to any of these cities and you realize San Antonio is poor within like 5 minutes of you being there, right? But when we were in Miami and we were going up and down Surfside and all that stuff, Miami Beach, and we were going to all those areas, I looked at my girlfriend and I said, this must be what it's like for you when I compare San Antonio to Houston. Miami makes Houston look like the ghetto. Miami makes Houston look like McAllen.
Oh,
and that's so crazy.
What's wrong with McAllen now, dude?
Just throwing it out there.
Oh,
Laredo.
What's wrong with Laredo? El Paso.
Just poor ass cities,
Come
man.
on,
Poor ass
man.
cities. We're poor. They're broke.
We're
a paycheck to paycheck town.
You're poking fun at the valley now, man. Come on,
man. They brought us some good food from time to time. What's that taqueria that we go to sometimes? The one, the
Palenque,
Taco Palenque and Palenque Grill. Yeah, they brought us that. But no, man, it's so funny. I spend so much time. I live in what I do for a living. I do a lot of business trips. So I've had trips to Miami, trips to Charlotte, trips to Houston, trips to Dallas, go to Austin, go to LA. And it's so funny. The second I go out of San Antonio, I think to myself, man, we just don't even realize that there's like stuff to do outside of the city. It's crazy, man. But then you go to Miami and then you look at Miami, and Miami probably just scoffs at the city of Houston. Like, yeah, you guys are nice and big and all, but we're Miami. Now I know why LeBron went there, Joe. Now I know why Dwayne Wade and LeBron and Chris Bosh joined forces, because, dude, what a town, man. What, you go to New York, you go to Chicago, you realize, it's a night and day difference, baby. Night and day difference.
Might be shitting on Texas.
It's broke as fuck, dude. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, man.
But we got Waco.
Hey, but this is one thing that we're going to talk about here, I guess, when they unveil the details. City Council has already said that they're working on this Project Marvel, right? To kind of reshape downtown. And Sam Salinas says, are we going to talk Project Marvel, or are we waiting until Thursday, Friday? Oh, my God. Midtown Texas. Laredo is a shithole. Oh, man. But, this Project Marvel thing that they've been touting has a price tag of $4 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Does this city have $4 billion, man?
Okay, so it's according to Fox San Antonio, it's going to reshape the southeast corner of downtown San Antonio. That's going to encompass Hemisphere and surrounding areas. Specifics of the project are going to be released next week. Actually, this Thursday, rather, at City Council chambers. The answer is going to be, it's got to be a collaboration between local dollars and the dollars of the ownership, right? Because when billionaires are asking for tax revenue, it's hard to do. When the AT&T Center, but back in the day was called the SBC Center, was created, that was created with a hotel motel tax. So a lot of Spurs fans did not experience it unless they were doing staycations here.
Yeah.
Right. If you decide to stay at a hotel downtown, if you decide to stay at the Holiday Inn, those are the people who paid for it. Right. So everyone who was visiting Lackland, Fort Sam Houston, people who were visiting SeaWorld and Fiesta, Texas from outside of San Antonio, who got a hotel or motel, they paid for the AT&T Center. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that some of that's going to be needed for this, right? And I'm going to go ahead and assume that these billionaires put up a little bit of their own cash for this as well, right? The rest of it would have to come from the city. I'll tell you this much. There's no vision in this city.
$4 billion.
I will believe this when I see it.
But can you build a stadium? I mean, a stadium nowadays, it costs several billions of dollars to build, right?
Well, the thing is that we already have the Mexicans here to build it.
But I'm saying, Mike, it doesn't matter that at all. To me, it's like, okay, you look at the other stadiums, right, that they have throughout the nation, and some of them are really nice, like the Clipper Stadium, really nice as far as what they've done there with the board that they have there, that screen that it's like a halo and everything. It looks really nice, state-of-the-art stuff. If you're going to do something like that here in San Antonio, the fans are going to want a fully state-of-the-art stadium. They're going to want an arena, should I say, for the Spurs to play in. I mean, you can't get something like that built for, what, $1 billion, $4 billion?
So Drew Show was talking about the cost of AT&T Center, and I had to look it up right now. According to some article that I'm reading right now, the AT&T Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys played cost $1.3 billion back in 2005. Index for inflation is $2 billion in today's dollars. So a little bit off there. So it's a $2 billion stadium right now if you're to do that. But the cost of things is more expensive, dude. I mean, that's indexed for normal inflation. You index for inflation when it comes to things like steel and metal and piping and all of that stuff. It's different, right? Land cost is different.
Look at it, Elias. We already have the Mexicans here to build it. Quick, someone tell Mike he's Mexican too.
Yeah. And my 1099s allow me to hire Mexicans to do certain things.
Oh, man. You know what? And it's like I was telling Leha the other day too, because he had put, the video of the Cowboys stadium, the sheet metal falling to the ground. And I told him, man, sometimes going with the lowest bidder isn't always the smart move.
That's right. I'll give you an example here, Joe. We have as one of our listeners here, our sponsors, MCS General Contracting. You're wearing the hat and the logo, right? They do an amazing job. Could I have gotten somebody else to do this for cheaper? More than likely, yes, right?
But it would have been done right.
Would have been a crap job, right? And I didn't ask for a sweetheart favor from Leha. I said, hey, just tell me how much it costs.
Yeah, it costs what it costs.
It costs what it costs, dude. I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, because you're paying for this brother's experience, man, and he's got over 30 years of combined experience, so they know what they're doing, So we might as well give Leha some love.
Let's give him some love.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
That Diamond Hard Concrete. Thank you so much, Chris Leha and fellas. People are already cooking me right now saying that, by the way, the chat powered by MCS General Contracting, 210-774-9155. You need a pickleball court, basketball court, swimming pool,
parking lot.
Be ADA compliant, right? Slab for a home, slab for a business, concrete needs. Why do we do this? It's called drip marketing, because eventually one day you're going to know somebody who needs to have something done to their house. I needed it done this past year, right? My dogs were tearing up the side of my house bad. I asked Chris to come by and said, don't make fun of me. And he goes, dude, I've seen worse. I think he was joking. It was awful. Okay. But now my house looks so much better on the side. And now when it rains, the water goes where it's supposed to go, which is away from my house. They did a fantastic job. 210-774-9155 for that Diamond Hard Concrete.
cooking you in the chat.
Oh,
already,
bring it
man.
on there, Joe. Bring it on,
This
Joe.
was hilarious, man. Where did they put it? That's way up here now. Mike is helping the raza now.
Is Raza help you, Raza?
MJ working construction at the site. And then this one was a throwback to Castro. It says 10.99 is your belt size. Throwback to Castro's epic burn.
I don't know, man. I'm 4 inches smaller this year, but my 1099s got larger. So they're going opposite directions, you know. Man, I had a 44 waist, Joe, about a year ago. And now I'm at 40, inching closer to that 38 waistline.
And look at what the Drew Show says. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer paid for the Clippers stadium out of his own pocket. Cash money. He goes, not one taxpayer dollar went into the construction of the stadium.
Well, the great thing about Ballmer doing that, though, is that Ballmer gets to make the rules.
That he does.
If you're taking someone else's money, all of a sudden you're in bed with each other, and then it becomes more of a dance than anything else. Also, Ballmer has that Los Angeles money. And LA and SA are two completely different things, man. Two completely different things.
Yeah, so the thing is that if they're going to go ahead and spend all this money, you know, with that Project Marvel, I wonder how long it's gonna take to pay this off.
Could it be one of those things, Joe, where they ask for $4 billion, but they really only want $3 billion? And they go, hey, okay, so, you know, we asked for $4 billion, we'll settle for $3 billion, but really what they wanted was $3 billion all along.
And you know what? Now that the problem is that they can't build the stadium at the Institute of Texas Cultures because it's a historic site now.
Hand over fist saying Ballmer got that Microsoft money. We got that HEB money, though, man.
The HEB buddy money.
Yeah. Can you all take buddy bucks?
Buddy bucks.
So, you know, it's funny because I don't think there will be support in the city to build this.
The thing is if you're going to build something this nice.
Why?
We're
fucking poor,
there
Joe.
You go. I knew you're going to say that, but the thing is, if you're going to build this, right, $4 billion expanse there in downtown, what infrastructure do you have to get the people from point A to point B? The VIA ain't going to cut it, man.
For what?
For transportation around downtown. VIA is not the thing, dude.
No one takes the bus to the Spurs game.
I'm just saying, like, if you're a tourist and you're coming into town, every other town that you go to has a nice layout, sports district and whatnot. Right. They make it really easy for you to, you know, migrate and transverse. What I'm saying is light rails, trains, you know, things like that help, you know, get you to point A to point B easily.
We'll never have that. Conservatives don't
have it.
Conservative states don't do light rail. They just don't. You know, it's too European, right? So only liberal states will do light rail.
I mean, even New Orleans got the trolley, bro.
Right. Democratic governor. But the trolley there is that's a good point. But the trolley there sucks.
Yeah, it's a rough ride.
But you know, you go back to the Project Marvel, right? It's beyond the Institute of Texan Cultures. It's the expansion of the Riverwalk. It's the expansion of walkways. I think that people think that it's just boom. It's just the arena.
No.
It's a total reformation of a rebuilding of downtown. It is changing things. It's putting parks there. It's putting walkways and expanding of the river, and it's connecting hotels like Contessa and all that stuff that are along there, and making more of the Riverwalk experience. It's expanding the Riverwalk.
They should go ahead and insert light rail into that as well.
I wouldn't be against it. I just don't see anybody in the city of San Antonio wanting that. Not in the city of San Antonio. I'm talking about the people, the powers that be, the people that might want it, but the powers that be don't. So it's more than just an arena. And I'm tired. And it's so funny. I go back and forth with our good friend John Dyer. People calling the Institute of Texan Cultures historic. Just because it's old doesn't make it historic.
It's the last structure that's still erect, still standing there from the World's Fair in the 60s, dude. It's the last thing.
You can make a reference of that hotel, La Mansión del Rio, Palacio del Rio. That's also was opened the week of the World's Fair. It was built for the World's Fair. To me, that's good enough. You watch TV shows like American Pickers. back in the day. R.I.P. to that dude that passed away recently.
Yeah.
Or Pawn Stars or any of that. What's the Antique Roadshow? They oftentimes say that just because something's old doesn't make it valuable, right? The Institute of Texan Cultures is old. No one cares.
They don't even. It's not even. There's nothing in there now.
There's nothing there. It is a pile of debris at this point. Joe, Pope John Paul II spoke over here at Westover Hills, right?
Yeah, right. Well, it's right by Stevens High School.
It's now SeaWorld.
No, it's Stevens High School where he actually spoke. They have
and
when you go into the parking lot there, they have the memorial. There's like a plaque there, and it shows that on this spot right here is that when you
then I know Pope. SeaWorld was probably part of like where all the stands were and all that stuff, right? So it's so damn close to each other.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, the whole stage got blown away by the heavy winds that time.
I remember that. That's
a historic spot, right? That's a very historic spot. It's now the site of a high school and an amusement park.
Man, look at Tony Hernandez. I thought the Tower of Americas was getting torn down. Dude, it's in bad shape. They were showing pictures of the underside of the tower, and like the concrete is just like coming off.
Now that I would not be supportive of. You keep the Tower of Americas and
they need to
rehab it.
Yeah, they need to fix it, man.
You hire MCS General Contracting, and you see Leha 714 feet up, just hanging out there.
Hey, Leha will be, if the check clears, I'll be up there, man.
Very nice. Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs at Ken's 5 as we preview the Spurs matchup tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is on national TV.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
That's right. I subscribe on Spotify, but you can also go to YouTube. You go to Kens5.com app as well. Go all over the place. Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, Locked On Spurs. I'm going to be a guest later on this week on Locked On Spurs. I think the topic that he wants to talk about is, he mentioned this to me in a text message. He was saying, let's talk about chemistry about certain players. And I know where he's going to go with this, Joe.
Now,
I know he's going to go with that thing that I posted about how Wemby averages 6 points more per game, has a better shooting percentage when Sohan's not out there. I know that's where he's going to go with, but taking a look at the feed here on Kens5.com, also on Jeff G Spurs and on Twitter. He's already ragging on me, man. Jeez Louise, man. Jeff Garcia, always quick to retweet. Quick to retweet. Talk about Wemby's improved shooting. Spurs Thunder preview with Sweep the League.
Yeah.
It's today's Locked On Spurs episode, so we'll give that a check out. He's talking about how Frost Bank will host the Frost Bank Center will host the State Farm College Slam Dunk and 3-point shootout on April the 3rd, 2025. So, Joe, I made mention the other day because we were talking about, they made fun of me saying I'm sneaky athletic.
Yeah.
So I made reference to the point that I went to Fiesta, Texas back in the day. I was probably in my late 20s, early 30s at the time. And I don't know if they still have it at Fiesta, Texas, but they had the 3-point shootout there. Like, it was a legit 3-point shootout where they had the racks there. But instead of them having 5 stations, they had 3. And instead of having 5 balls per rack, it was just 4. So you had 3 regular balls, and then you had 1 red, white, and blue money ball, right? So if you hit so many of them, you get certain prizes, right? If you get so many, you might get a T-shirt, you might get a plush. But if you hit a lot, they had like an iPod, they had jerseys, like a Kobe jersey or Jordan jersey, all that stuff, right? So I went there one time, and I was like, $10? Okay, I'll do it. First shot, Joe. Complete airball. I mean,
okay.
I had no practice on it, Joe. Complete airball. The wind was taking it, and I was like, okay, now I got to compensate for the wind, whatever. I knocked down the next 3 shots, Joe. Just boom, 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 money ball in. I go to the midpoint, Joe. I knocked in all 4. Went to the right corner, made the first one, made the second one, made the third one. Dude, I was on fire. I made 10 in a row. Last shot, in and out, went out, right? It didn't even just hit the rim. It wanted to go in, but it came out. So I made 10 out of 12 3-pointers. Missed the first one, missed the last one, made the 10 in the middle, right?
Right on cue. Tall tale story.
Tall tale. I was given the choice between a jersey and an iPod, right? They told me had I made the last shot, I would have won the PlayStation. I don't know if it was PS, whatever it was back in the day. Became that close. I bet you could give me all day long to do the exact same thing. Never would do it. I would probably go 2 for 12, 3 for 12 on 3-point shooting at this point. I don't shoot very often anymore. But back in the day when I was playing ball at the Racquetball and Fitness, when I was playing ball at Five Palms.
Where you didn't want to hurt Tim Duncan?
No, I didn't want to accidentally hurt Tim Duncan. Not that I was gonna post him up. He would have swatted my shots. What was I gonna do on the court? What was I gonna do? Just get posterized the entire time?
If somebody of the Spurs came up to anybody, I was there too, and they'd be like, "Hey, you want a ball?" Hell yeah.
Sis saying someone sponsor a 3-point shootout for Alamo City. I'm in.
Hey, there you go. We could have you versus Leha, dude.
Dude, and it's funny because when I referee high school basketball, which by the way tonight I have a varsity game. Who do I got tonight, Joe? I got San Marcos High School on the road. So it's a game here in San Antonio. I've got San Marcos against Reagan High School. So I'll be at Reagan High School. I'm umpire 2 for tonight's basketball game. Varsity game, 1 game. Make $100 and I'm out the door, Joe. $100 for the hour. Not bad. I'll take it. But Joe, when I hand the ball off to the players, because I still hold the ball, right? You're not allowed to shoot the ball as an official, right? You're not allowed to go up there and it's a timeout and go do layups or shoot a free throw. You have certain parts of the court that you stand on. You stand at attention, right?
Yeah.
Very militaristic, right? That's the way you should be doing it, right? Now, not all officials are dotting I's and crossing T's as to what they should be doing, but I do, right? I do what because I want to advance. There's a reason why I do varsity now. It's because I took it seriously as a middle school official. I took it seriously as a freshman official. I took it seriously as a JV official. Now I'm at varsity.
Maybe next level is the NBA, right?
I've done a college game before. I've done college.
Maybe officiating Spurs games.
I did a college exhibition game. Dude, my association does the Spurs workouts at the Rocket La Cantera. That's not inconceivable. I don't think I'm in line for that. But whenever you go to watch the news and they're showing highlights of the Spurs and they have guys wearing stripes, those are the guys I officiate with. They're the exact same guys. So I'm in that association. So I did an exhibition game one time. I did 2 quarters of a game. It was Texas State against Stephen F. Austin, one of those schools, and it was over in San Marcos at their let's call their main gym, whatever. It didn't go down as a preseason game, but it was an exhibition game involving the schools, so I was able to do that before. So I've had some run when it comes to it all. But Joe, button down, Joe. I gotta be ready for tonight's game, baby. But so the reason why I was going to that, Joe, is because I handle the rock, right? Because I hand the ball off, right? I have to inbound the ball and all that stuff, Joe. It's funny whenever I give the ball to some of the players will laugh and go, "We could tell you played point guard."
Oh my God!
Because the way I hand the ball over to them.
No, man.
Dude, I hand the ball.
No.
I flicked the ball to a player one time earlier this season. I'm handing the ball off, and I went like this.
God,
I went like this to the ball. He wanted the ball to inbound the ball before a timeout. I think he wanted to touch the ball before he inbound, the inbound, like before it was time to give it.
Yeah,
like I just want to just hold the ball. Tim Duncan wanted to do one of these things, and I went like this, and I flipped the ball not on my finger. I flipped it around my wrist. I
can't take it no more.
I went like
this
that,
is what you're getting. You're getting the chanclazo, dude. Joe, the chanclazo.
Joe, I completely spun the ball around my hand, And I went just very nonchalantly, and I gave it to him. And he looked at me and he goes, "You used to play point." I was
No, my
like, damn
God,
straight I
bro,
did.
no. Bro, we got to see you on a court for
Oh,
one,
dude, I throw out my
Come
back at this
on,
point,
man.
but I can still dribble.
No,
I can still dribble.
nobody has ever said that. Ooh. No, bro. We need to do a 3-point shooting contest between you and Leha, man, and Elias, dude. That would be hilarious.
So I was at refereeing a game last year, and one of my favorite places to referee high school basketball is McCollum. I love it there. I don't know. There's something about these inner city schools or schools that are SAISD or Harlandale related that I love. I love doing their games. I hate doing the games on 46, like Bernie, New Braunfels Canyon, New Braunfels, Smithson Valley. Hate doing schools games over there, dude. But I love that corridor from like SAISD schools. I love that area. Northeast is okay, but I love the SISD schools and Harlandale schools. And I remember making a call on this one play, and I hear this guy from the stand scream, "That was an awful call, and I hate your show."
Jeez, man.
So if you want to yell at me tonight, I'll be at Reagan High School, 7:30 tip-off.
There you go. Well, you know what? We're going to show this too, since we're talking about the Cowboys earlier. We're going to show the piece of metal, the giant piece of sheet metal that fell from the ceiling. That's what happens when you get the lowest bidder, man. Hopefully the Spurs, when they get their new stadium built, they don't go with the lowest bidder, man.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for. They should hire Leha, man. Let Leha and his crew go out there and lay some of that diamond hard concrete out there, man. They'll get it done right.
Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs in Ken's 5 says, I rewinded the video. Yep, he blasted his own kind of big time. Dude, I'm like tongue in cheek. He takes everything literally, man.
Well, that's what happens, man. When you came at him and you went, let it out there and let it be known that he eats that steak on that silver platter. that's when the rivalry started. So every opportunity that you give Jeff, he's going to take it, man. He's going to take it. I respect him. He's going to stand on business. Do your thing, Jeff. Do your thing.
And Jeff, as you're listening to this, go back to that tape. When I said it, I smiled. That was my way of just of letting you guys know that I'm purposefully being a dick. Okay, that's like my way of saying I'm in on the joke. Okay,
man, Jeff is roasting your ass already, dude. Look at that. Oh my God! Now he says people know he's a point guard because of the way he inbounds the ball as a ref. No mames, man. Damn.
Spurs back in action tonight. It's gonna be on national TV. It's gonna be on TNT. Oklahoma City favored by 9.5 points. 8:30 tip-off, Joe. Late tip-off for the Silver and Black tonight.
It's going to be a part of the in-season tourney for them.
It's the second game. We got that beautiful arena, beautiful court going on over here. I don't think the tickets are going to be super cheap for this game, Joe.
Oh, they're not that bad. You look on SeatGeek and all that. These are very affordable tickets. I think you could get into the lower bowl for like maybe $58, $60-something.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
Some injuries for this game. Chet Holmgren has been out with a hip fracture, suffered in Sunday's loss against the Warriors last week.
He's going to miss most of the season, not all of it.
Isaiah Joe, shooting guard, also out. Jalen Williams has had some issues as well, so they're not at top speed, if you will, but Oklahoma City still 11-3 on the season, still one of the best teams in the West and all the NBA. We saw on social media over the weekend, the past couple of days, Zach Collins talking about how the Spurs need to play small ball against OKC.
And speaking of Zach Collins, it is his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Zach Collins.
Yeah.
Very nice. Congratulations. Small ball. The Spurs already are kind of doing that because when Jeremy Sohan got his injury, his broken thumb, they didn't replace him with another big. They replaced him with Stephon Castle. And that is part of the whole thing is that Stephon Castle comes out. He's 6'6", but he's not a big, right? He's tall, but he's not a big. And I think that the Spurs have already figured that out. What I want to see is who's going to be guarding SGA. Is that Castle's doing now?
Who knows, man? I mean, that's arguably one of your better defenders you got out there on the court.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he guards shot, he's going to have a tall order in front of him, tall task. Because, I mean, he goes off on the Spurs all the time. I bet you anything tonight he's going to have another 30-plus point performance. Don't matter who's in front of him.
Now, the Spurs are dealing with some injuries. Last I checked, we saw Victor Wembanyama questionable for this game. Devin Vassell also questionable for this game. So, as of yesterday, Wemby was considered to be, now he's been downgraded to doubtful. So, boom. All right. So, no Wemby, no win.
No Wemby. You know what's funny? Because the listeners here, they had said when Wemby wasn't playing very good, they gave him the nickname Wimpy Ganas. And that's now it's starting to become a thing on the Spurs Twitter. I'm brutal. Like, what, dude? Lay had put that out there the other day. He goes Wimpy Ganas. I was like, oh my God.
The Atlanta Hawks continue to win. They beat the Kings yesterday. Kings, who are a decent team. I know the Spurs beat the Kings, but this was a home game for the Kings. Hawks came back to win 109-108. They held Sacramento to just 15 points in the fourth quarter. The Hawks now 3-4, getting these victories despite the fact that Trae Young is not 100%. Trae Young yesterday only had, he was only 1 for 7 shooting yesterday. Trae Young only had a handful of points in the game. When was the last time you saw Trae Young go off for 7 and they win? Well, so this team might not be that bad. They got rid of DeJounte Murray, a one-time All-Star, a good player. They bring in Garrison Matthews, Dyson Daniels off the bench, and they start Zachary Reese-Archet. Reese-Archet, by the way, had 18 points yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Baby hands.
Yeah.
He's got them tiny baby hands.
He was number 1, right? It was him was 1 and Sarr was 2.
Yeah.
And then Shepard was 3 and then Castle was 4. Had to go back in time and revisit all that in my head. We're going to have the announcements of the NBA rookie ladder, Joe. Do you think that we're going to see a little bit more respect towards Stephon Castle because he went from being not ranked to then being ranked
outside top 10? Yeah.
At number 10. He was at number 10 last time.
Okay. Well, I think they might give him some love here. I mean, the kid's been balling, man. He's been playing great. So I don't understand how you can overlook him.
The rookie of the year may have already been decided, Joe.
Think so?
Yeah. And Jalen Wells of Memphis. Who?
Yeah, who?
Jalen Wells of Memphis might be that guy. Averaging 12 points per game. He had a big streak this past week of just really big games. Going out there with 20-point performances. Dude, I just look at this and it's a wonky draft. Reese-Archet is showing some signs of having good games. 18 points yesterday. Sarr is looking better, but still very raw. Reed Shepard, Houston's bringing him along really slowly. Castle's getting some run because of injuries to Vassell and injuries to Sohan. But you look at it, it's going to be the players drafted around 8 to 15 that are most likely going to be in the top, all NBA rookie team and things like that. And then when they have the rookie challenge and they bring that in, I think Castle is like a definitive one. He's got to be on one of those teams.
We got some breaking entertainment news here that I want to share with you. I got to share this. So you ready for this, Mike?
Yeah.
We got a new act coming to the Alamo Dome, man.
Alamo Dome.
Posty, man. You got Post Malone is going to be bringing the big ass stadium tour to the Alamo Dome here on May the 7th of 2025 with Jelly Roll and Sierra Farrell. Tickets go on sale Tuesday, November 26th at 12 p.m.
That's huge.
I knew
No, that's going to be the biggest concert of San Antonio for the year.
No pun intended, because of Jelly Roll. I'm like, bro. Oh God, dude, you're roasting the event, not intending to, but I'm just like, damn, bro. Yeah, but there you go, man. If you want to go ahead and see Post Malone, tickets go on sale on the 26th.
No, that's big.
I'm sure they're gonna sell out quick. But I mean, that's a good concert.
It's a great get, dude.
Yeah.
It's a great get. By the way, I had the wrong player that I was thinking of. I had the right letters, but the right initial, but not the letters. Jared McCain is the rookie that I'm talking about, who's a rookie point guard / shooting guard for the Philadelphia 76ers. His last 3 games, Joe, 34 points, 29 points, and 20 points. He's shooting 41% from 3.
And look, we got an incoming super chat again from the Drew Show, man.
OKC Spurs will have 15 plus turnovers against OKC. I believe it. I believe it. Thank you so much for the donation there, Drew. The Spurs have cleaned it up a bit. A few games ago, they had only 9 in one of their victories. They've cleaned it up a bit, but it's hard to judge this team, Joe, with Wemby not on the court. Wemby's not on the court. It's not even worth looking at, dude. I'm sure TNT's pissed off that he's not going to be out there. But I'm looking at Sportskeeda, Joe, the website Sportskeeda.
Yeah.
And it gives their rankings for Rookie of the Year. And they have at number 1, Jared McCain. Says he exploded week 4. No other rookie was more impressive than the Sixers guard. Former Duke star averaged 28 points per game that week. 51% shooting, including 43% from 3. Guy's a stud. A lot of injuries there with Philadelphia. He got the call up. He's been playing well. Look who they have at number 2. Stephon Castle. Sportskeeda says, like Dalton Connects, Stephon Castle now debuts in the NBA Rookie of the Year rankings. They insert the former UConn star in the starting lineup. He's become their best perimeter defender and floor general when Chris Paul hands him the reins on the offense. Averaged 13.5 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists per game since he took over starting. 2-way impact. He guarded whoever he was told to guard. And LeBron James said after the game, quote, Castle is going to be special.
There you go, man. Got to go ahead and give Castle, I think, another look here because, like I said, man, the kid's been playing great. He's been balling out. Looked great in preseason. He's been looking great here during the regular season. Stepping in for one Jeremy Sohan. They inserted him into the starting lineup. Kid's been amazing, man. You can't say enough good things about him. But, I was going to go ahead and give myself some love or give us some love here.
Yeah.
Over on the Alamo City Podcast Network website, you can go ahead and check that out here at alamocitypodcastnetwork.com. Our good friend Benjamin Bornstein, he's like the college basketball guru for everything that has to do with the world of college basketball, prospects and all that. And me and him kind of did a little video here, and it's called the 2025 Spurs Draft Pick Watch. So if you go ahead and click on it, and you go and look at the video that we did, and you can also see the little bit of the article here, we're going to give you some, draft pick situations as far as the Spurs and where they stand, some names that you need to look out for. So make sure you go and give the article some love. Go ahead and check it out. Really appreciate it if you did. This is going to be something we're going to be bringing you guys just about every week. And we do have games of the week as well. If you go to the Alamo City Podcast Network YouTube channel, you can see that there's games of the week, or matchups of the week there when it comes to the world of college basketball. So make sure you check that out as well.
That's badass, man. We're ever expanding in what we do, the way that we can be followed, that you can reach out to us, and that we can reach out to you. Amazing. I got some more entertainment news.
Sure.
TMZ released photos of Dave Coulier. We talked about this, the former Full House star who is battling stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, an aggressive form of cancer. This photo is being criticized because that is John Stamos behind him, formerly of Full House as well. They're obviously good friends years later. Shaving Dave Coulier's hair, right? That's what happens. You lose your hair when you have cancer, the chemo treatments and all that stuff, right? A lot of people in solidarity will shave their head as well, say that they're doing this alongside their friend or their family member. Should John Stamos be criticized for this? Because that is not him shaved.
Yeah, no.
That is a skull. That is a bald cap.
Yeah.
Is it a bad look?
I don't know, man. I mean, he could have shaved his head if he wanted to, but maybe he can't for some reason because of how he earns his money.
Right.
So I don't know what the situation is. I know people are going to be critical nonetheless, but I think him doing what he can to show support for his friend, I think it was a kind gesture.
No, the super chat coming in. This one from Tony Ornelas. He's going the opposite way, Drew. Spurs will have under 15 turnovers versus OKC tonight.
There you go. We might have some bets going on here in the chat.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh my goodness. I am now being roasted currently on Twitter right now.
Jeff, he started the firestorm. Oh, yeah, dude. Look at that.
Jeff, you suck.
I do like the pictures they're putting of you, though, man. They're top tier, dude.
Jesse A comes out and says, when you got hair like Stamos, you don't mess with it.
There you go. We also had some other news here as well. We have the standings as it currently is right now in the NBA. So I know people are always kind of looking to see what's happening with the standings, and right now this is what it looks like in the Western Conference. Number 1 overall team with an 11-3 record, OKC. The Warriors, man, 10-3 right now, making some news. I mean, some waves there.
Has Cleveland lost in the East?
Cleveland has not lost. They are still one of the they're the only unbeaten team right now in the NBA at 15-0, tops in the Eastern Conference.
And guess what? They're 5.5-point underdogs tonight because they're in Boston taking on the Celtics.
Yeah, the Celtics are 11-3. They got a good record too.
Yeah, they lost to the Hawks.
Yeah,
without Trae Young.
Yeah, and then you see where the Spurs are at right now, and you look at the Dallas Mavericks, who had went to the NBA Finals last year. They're a 500 team at 7-7, and 11th in the Western Conference. Spurs right now are 12th with a record of 6-8. They're tied right there with the Portland Trailblazers with the 6-8 record, which the Blazers are number 13. 14 in the West is the Pelicans with the 4-10 record, and then the worst team in the Western Conference right now, Utah Jazz at 3-10.
Now the Spurs right now have the opportunity to have up to 4 first-round draft picks because we have our own. We have Atlanta's unprotected. We have a top 10 protected pick from Chicago and a top 14 protected pick from Charlotte. As of now, the Spurs are projected to have just 2 first-rounders, number 10 and number 18 picks in the draft. The 18 pick coming from Atlanta, because Atlanta with a 7-8 record is actually a playoff-bound team right now in the East. I know it's early, but that's where they are right now. That Chicago pick, which is top 10 protected, is currently at number 9. So Chicago wins a couple of games. It gets out of that protected status. Charlotte is the 8th worst team in the NBA right now. And so we're seeing some of these teams things are kind of starting to unfold a little bit. We're going to follow this more and more as the season goes along. But really, Joe, if there's no Wemby, there's nothing to take out of tonight's game. Like, Spurs could win this game. Doesn't mean anything. They could lose this game. Doesn't mean anything. Wemby's not out there. It just... for me, meaning of this game, I'm going to watch it anyway, right? But the meaning kind of goes away. You can't take anything out of it, right? Because the chemistry without Wemby is not there. But Cleveland, amazing, won 15 in a row. It's one of the best starts of all time in NBA history. Any good comments coming in, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a whole bunch of comments here. And it says, Drew Show says, no team starting Zach Collins at center is going to beat OKC Thunder. Doesn't matter how many players they have out injured. And Tony Ornella says, Jazz seriously trying to get Cooper Flagg. I think Flagg should stay another year in Duke. He is good, but not amazing yet. And, we got something here, too. I was going to say, this is kind of funny to me. Tyrese Maxey reportedly called out Joel Embiid for always being late per Sham Sharniah. In the meeting, Maxey challenged Embiid to be on time to team activities, calling out the former league MVP about being late for everything and how it impacts the locker room. I'm like, really, dude? At this point, does it matter?
New hotel coming to San Antonio, Morgan's Wonderland, which is the theme park for children with disabilities and adults with disabilities, is going to break ground in December on a brand new hotel that is designed specifically for those who have disabilities, Joe. Have you ever been to Morgan's?
I think I've gone maybe once or twice.
Dude, I tell you what, man, I love Morgan's Wonderland. My son, Justin, has Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Love going out there. Love taking him out there. The water park is amazing. What a great park for the kids, man.
It's really accessible to everybody because, I mean, they have ramps and everything so everybody can enjoy it.
Joe, there's going to be a JonBenet Ramsey. If you can go 2 box real fast, the JonBenet Ramsey documentary on Netflix. You excited about this?
Not really, dude. I could care less about these things, man. I don't watch this stuff like true crime and all that other stuff. It doesn't interest me at all. I got zero interest.
Do you have any interest in watching Jelly Roll or Post Malone?
Yeah,
or both.
I wouldn't mind watching both, dude.
I wouldn't mind. Post Malone's good, dude.
Yes,
because he has a
Texas boy, man. I'm a God support.
He has range.
Yeah,
you want him to rap, he can do it. You want him to sing a pretty ballad, he can do it. Want country, he can do it. He can
play guitar, he can play some instruments, man.
So, yeah, I'd go check that out.
Yeah,
Jelly Roll. He's good, dude. He's good.
Come on, I know he's
gonna be dead in 6 years, but he's good.
Oh my God, Mike.
gonna be dead. No, actually, no. If he was doing what he should have, what he was doing back then, he would have. But he has lost over 100 pounds.
Who, Jelly Roll?
Jelly Roll, yeah.
There you go. We got to give him some credit, man. You know what? This NBA had put out a poll there, and it says, "Which game do you want to watch a player's warm up before tonight's Emirates NBA Cup doubleheader on TNT? Cavs, Celtics, Thunder, Spurs." Of course, I got to go with Thunder Spurs, but they're beating the pack right now at 82.6%. I mean, the Cavs, Celtics are. Thunder Spurs are 17.4%. Yeah, I got to vote for my Spurs, but I know it's not going to happen, man.
What was Jelly Roll's highest weight?
I have no idea.
He one time weighed over 500 pounds.
Oof.
He has lost nearly 200 pounds over the years. Still over 300. But he's lost over 200 pounds ballpark, over 100 pounds in a pretty quick clip. So so I'll take back Jelly Roll, because I remember Jelly Roll when he first came out. I just remember seeing him going, that ain't gonna last. Kind of like Biggie, you know. If Biggie hadn't been killed, he would have died anyway in 3 years after that. You know, this is what it is. I saw Biggie's suit when I was in Seattle at the Pop Culture Museum. I took a photo of it, dude. I'm a big guy, dude. You know, I'm a big guy. I stood right next to it. I'm thinking to myself, this covers me 3 times. Biggie had to have been 500 pounds.
Think so?
Let me look at that up. Biggie Smalls was 6'2", 400. I'm calling bull crap. He had to be 450 easily.
Yeah.
Joe, let's call it a show. I know we've only been at it for an hour and 20 minutes, but I got to get back to the office. Spurs, Thunder, no Wemby tonight, 8:30. Could probably get some super cheap seats because there's no Wemby out there.
Probably can, dude. Hopefully, Spurs will put on a good show either way. They'll be competitive, but I'm expecting them to fully get blown out of the water, man.
Yeah.
Things are going to come off the rails, I think, quick.
Cowboy fans, feel bad for you guys. We didn't even say how positive this was for the Houston Texans. Houston Texans inching closer and closer to winning their division. It's kind of hard for me to make an assessment of the Texans because the Texans had not been playing well leading up into this game. I mean, I know that they were up big against the Lions and they blew that game 6-4, but they had given up more points than they had scored. I can't take anything out of this game. Dallas sucks so bad, and Dallas showed no fight in the game yesterday. It's hard to make an assessment and say, oh, yeah, well, the Texans are back, baby.
Yeah, we do have some more breaking news here as we bring the show to a close here. The Jets fired their GM, Joe Douglas, per Adam Schefter. Shefty says he done.
If he was the one who brought Aaron Rodgers in, then I get it.
Yeah.
But if he had nothing to do with it, Aaron Rodgers is a big waste, man. He's a shell of himself.
He's the Deshaun Watson, dude. They're both washed,
I'll tell you this much. Mike Tyson at 58 is a better fighter than Aaron Rodgers at 41 quarterback.
You know, that whole debacle there, don't even get me started on that. That was scripted, man.
By the way, CBS Sports has their bowl projections out.
Do they? Let's see it.
So bowl projections have come out. So right now, again, this is the first time we're doing a 12-team playoff, right? So the national championship is going to be what, the Rose Bowl? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
or it's gonna be at one of those bowl games. Okay, so right now they have as having the buys Ohio State, Alabama, Boise State, and Miami. Right? Ohio State playing the winner of the 8-9 matchup in the Rose Bowl. Sugar Bowl, Alabama playing the 7-10 winner. Fiesta Bowl, Boise State playing the 5-12 winner, and Miami playing the 6-11 winner in the Peach Bowl. They have Oregon against Colorado, Texas against Indiana, dude. That Indiana team is undefeated, man. Then you've got Penn State against Tennessee and Georgia against Notre Dame. But down to the other bowls, Joe. They have your UTSA Roadrunners in a bowl game, Joe. What do they got to do to win to make a bowl game, Joe?
Got to win, man.
Last game.
Got to win this
the last winnable game.
Just to be bowl eligible doesn't mean that you're actually going to get picked up and be called to, partake in a bowl, but at least you're eligible.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to win that one more game.
So here it is. UTSA, you got to get six wins. UTSA is projected to be in the First Responder Bowl in Dallas, Texas on January 3rd. Right now, going up against Georgia Southern. That is the prediction right now. Wouldn't be that excited about a Georgia Southern game, but it's in Dallas. Make it a road game, January 3rd.
You know what I just remembered right now?
What's that?
Usually on Wednesdays, we have Jeff Garcia on the show. So what perfect timing, right? He goes and gets you roasted, and then he's going to be on tomorrow's show.
Oh.
I see what you're doing there, Jeff Garcia. I like it.
Texas Bowl out there in Houston. They predict TCU against LSU. That's not a bad matchup there. Music City Bowl, Michigan against Missouri. Independence Bowl, Army against West Virginia. These are the predictions. Alamo Bowl, Joe. BYU against Washington State. The Pop-Tarts Bowl. SMU against Iowa State. The New Mexico Bowl featuring two teams from Texas. Texas State and North Texas. Baylor against Navy in the Armed Forces Bowl. Texas Tech against Nebraska in the Rate Bowl, which is whatever is that, the Rate Bowl, the day after Christmas. Those are the only games. Sam Houston State against the Cajuns in the New Orleans Bowl.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
UTSA's got to win this week, though.
Well, don't say that, man. You don't want to jinx them, man.
Favored by 16.5 points.
You still got to go out there and perform, man. Like I said, just because this team doesn't have a winning record, the team that they might be facing, doesn't mean they're not going to want to get up and win, and upset the Roadrunners and all but extinguish their bowl hopes, because let's face it, man, UTSA is not beating Army.
Right. No, not even close. But here's the thing. Temple's coming off a victory. They beat FAU in overtime 18-15 over the weekend. But they lost big to Tulane. They lost big to ECU. They beat Tulsa. So, you can say that even though Temple's come in 3-7, they're 2-2 in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
So they're turning the corner a bit. Any good comments before we take off?
No. Chris Gonzalez is saying they just need to win the last 2 games. Well, they just need to win one more so they can have 6 wins on the season.
Sam Salinas. So before the end of the season, the Jets have fired their head coach and GM. On that alone, the Jets have had a better season than the Cowboys.
Listen, Lord Elias. Mike saying bye, then sticking around is the Mexican side of him showing. The only thing you need
saying
is
bye to everybody. Hey, see you later.
I need 4 plates to take home.
Everyone have a fantastic day, man. It's already 11:30. Got to get back to work. Got to record a Locked On Spurs episode with Jefe. I don't know if I want to do it anymore.
Oh, come on. You got
I don't know. Maybe I'll big time him. We shall see.
No,
when he sends me the link, maybe I'll just big time him.
Tell him I can. It's too ethnic for me. All right, man. We'll see you boys tomorrow. We're out of here.
See ya.
Peace.